I'm ready. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4! Hi, I'm Max.
My name is Jaren Rhodes.
My name is Grant Williams.
Hey, I'm Ryan Diego Lucas.
I am the drummer and one of the founding members of Parabolic.
I am the lead singer of Parabolic, the band.
And I play bass for Parabolic.
I play guitar for Parabolic, the best band in the goddamn world.
So now
Check.
let's actually get a level with the vocals so that you're comfortable.
Check.
So, I started playing with Ryan when he expressed interest in the guitar and the bass, and we started jamming. So we've been lifelong friends ever since, so we immediately were like, okay, yeah, it's perfect, let's start playing together, let's start jamming.
So Max and I know each other from, well, our parents run in the same circles. We've been friends since I was like a toddler. So Max and I have been best buds for forever.
We loved what we were doing so much that after a few meetings, we added on Grant and his band that was from my high school. But it ended up being just Grant sticking around because he was the one that fit best with what Ryan and I were going for.
We met Grant because he goes to Max's school, and Max and I had a couple jams back when I just played bass, and we were kind of a band, but we weren't a band yet. He got together with this other group of musicians at the time. They were called the Headbeat. They're still called the Headbeat. Go ahead and check them out. And that was Maxie Yust, who's a great guitarist, Vanessa, who's a great singer, and Grant. After a while, it was apparent that our artistic impressions of the world were different, so Vanessa and Max went their separate ways, and we acquired Grant.
I mean, I've always just been like pretty free with my playing and all that kind of stuff. So, you know, and we in Headbeat, and I really want to be able to record these, but again, quarantine. But we might be able to figure something out. But that's beside the point. With that, you know, the other Max, he was just playing some, you know, nice open chords, and, you know, it was very open-ended, so, you know, I was just kind of free to do whatever and just improvise and stuff, and I think that's, you know, a lot of the appeal of what we were doing, and, you know, that's kind of like what I was doing when I showed them. But, you know, working with Parabolic is kind of just a different, like, thought process, really. You know, I can't just do whatever. There's a lot of specific things that need to be done, and yeah, I definitely am happy that I had the experience for both bands because they're both very different. They're both fulfilling in their own way.
For a while, we were only a three-piece band, and we were trying to find a singer, and we were trying to find a permanent singer at that. And we stumbled upon Jaren. Jaren has been a friend of mine for years, but sort of coming in and out of my life. But I'm so glad he's in it now because he's a great singer for Parabolic.
I met Max and Ryan through Hebrew school a long time ago. We knew each other from, I joined in 3rd grade, so I knew them from elementary school, and I met Grant actually when Max and Ryan reached out to me about joining the band.
Ultimately, it was settled to bring something that's in common between all the members into our band. So what we do, what we're doing, like what we love, we're playing music, and we're also all full-time high school students when we started this band. So we were like, okay, that's really cool. So we decided to put our studies that we're really fond of to our music, which we were equally as fond of, and we are essentially nerdy rock and roll musicians. So we wanted to slip a little bit of academics and a little bit of mathematics into rock and roll. So we were like, that's dope. Like, who doesn't like a nerd who plays rock and roll? So Parabolic means infinite and symmetrical. So that's sort of a great motto to live by when you're in a band. You want to have it going for as long as possible, and you always gotta be on the same page. So it's really important when you're talking about that.
Essentially, it just came from me thinking a lot about what I wanted the band to represent, and we were happening to learn about parabolas, and I really just love the concept of everything going full circle and everything always being very guided and everything happening for a reason, pretty much. Everything being beautiful for a reason. When I think about Parabolic's music, I think about something that, yes, you can bop your head to, yes, you can really feel, but also there's something there to be explored. There's always something that you can dig a little bit further into that comes not as a product, but as something from each and every one of our hearts. We want our music to speak to people as people. We don't want it to be necessarily a social thing. We want our music to speak to you.
The sound is actually still being nurtured and still being worked with. But, because at first we had no idea of what we wanted. We were just all over the place. We were trying and covering so much different stuff. We were covering alternative rock, we were covering jazz, we were covering blues, we were covering metal, we were covering prog, all sorts of stuff, and classic rock even. We were covering a lot of stuff. But ultimately, like, we share common interest in alternative rock, and that's just so current, and it could be mended and could be molded into so many different styles. Like, there's the regular softer alternative, and then there's a sort of heavier aspect of alternative that we like to go after. So our band is primarily based around alternative rock, alt rock, and heavy alt rock at that, but we are all prog heads, like serious prog heads, King Crimson, yes, Genesis, everything, Tool, like totally progged out completely. So we wouldn't be completely satisfied with what we're doing unless we throw in elements of prog. And even metal and classic rock, and we enjoy to improvise and experiment a lot because some of our best ideas often come from experimenting and improvising off something technically written out.
Really, it's just kind of like an amalgamation of, like, you know, what we're into doing. You know, we would just be jamming and stuff, and then, like, when we're all like, yeah, this is awesome, you know, we would just go with that. Because, you know, there's sometimes where we're jamming and, you know, someone was like, oh yeah, this is awesome, but, you know, other people are like, nah. But, like, when we all just agree on something and just, like, find an intersection between, you know, because, you know, everyone has different things that they listen to a lot, you know, like, I know, like, Jaren, you know, he listens to a lot of, you know, Beatles and a lot of, you know, he's in musicals and whatnot, so that's kind of, like, where a lot of his singing is inspired from, and a lot of what he brings to the band, like, that kind of, like, personality with singing.
It's definitely, it's hard to box it into one thing, but I would say that one of them would be alternative rock, so that's the main genre, but the thing is that we go out in and out of different things, so I bring in a little bit of harmony stuff, because my background is classical and choir stuff, and Grant likes to bring a lot of heavy metal. No, Grant is prog rock, and Ryan is heavy metal. But when we come together, we just create this really interesting blend of sound that is a combination of all of them, so it is hard to box it in.
Max is really into, like, alternative rock. He's really into just some fun, you know, fast-paced stuff, you know? Like, it's kind of just prioritizing just that nice, fun feeling of playing, you know, not thinking about it, but just feeling it, you know? And, you know, Ryan is really into, you know, progressive metal, you know, Tool, and, you know, with that, there's a lot of technical things that we like to incorporate because, you know, that's what Tool's known for, pretty much, you know, so they have, you know, in our songs there might be, like, sections where there's some, you know, crazy time signatures and patterns and stuff like that. That's probably Ryan's doing, and, you know, I think it's kind of cool that we can sort of elevate to that sort of point.
Mainly, what got me to start to pick up the sticks, because I've been drumming since I was 3 years old. I got my first kit at 3. I was drumming, banging on the high chair in a Mommy and Me music class. I was banging on a little djembe, but, like, I wasn't banging like this like the other kids. I had alternating strokes. which the teachers pointed out to my parents, and they told me the story many times because I love it. They were like, "You've got it in you from birth." So I got my first baby drum set at 3 years old, and I've had a drum set ever since. I expanded when I got into middle school. I got my new drum set, and I got a bigger drum set that I've had ever since, and it's great. But I mainly got inspired by Neil Peart from Rush. You know, rest in peace. He was a legend. He's a master Neil, wizard of a drummer. I was just so fascinated by how many pedals and toms and cymbals and his rotating kit and so many camera angles when they were playing. Like, it was just so mind-boggling to my little 5-year-old head when I started thinking about playing music seriously. I was obsessed with Rush. Rush was my favorite band, and it was my favorite band for years and years. And Neil Peart got me to play drums and to keep playing drums and inspired me to get better and better every day.
Personally, I listen to a lot of jazz fusion, and that's kind of like where I get a lot of my inspiration from for like improvisation, and I listen to progressive rock as well from like the 70s. Just that, like, those really melodic, fun bass lines. I just love to play. I just like that kind of, it's complicated, definitely. Some of the music, jazz fusion can be really complicated, but also people still find a way to, make it their own, improvise, and just have fun with it. So
I would say that I really definitely always admire Eric Whitacre. He's a classical composer. I just really love his style and his energy behind doing weird things that break the rules, because classical choir technically had rules a long time ago with all the Mozart and stuff like that. There were certain things that you had to do, and he breaks all of them. Troye Sivan, Michaela Strauss, who is King Princess. Those are some of the artists that I like.
What really made me want to start playing guitar, I remember this very vividly, is I was playing bass, and I just randomly had an urge to play bass one day, so I got it for Christmas one year. And I was in my room, I played every day, and I just dedicated myself to it. But eventually what got me to play guitar is I was listening to a Silverstone pickup song, and I wanted to make the noises that Brian Auburn was making. So I begged and begged and begged my parents for a guitar, and they bought me this refurbished, cheap but still amazing ES335. It still sounds great to this day. I have it in my room. And from then on out, I've just been playing the guitar every second I got. I always love jamming with like anyone who ever wants to jam. Like, seriously, if you ever want to jam with me, just call me and I'll try to make it happen. But big names, Justin Chancellor of Tool and Adam Jones of Tool, and actually just everyone in Tool, someone that I just love to work with. Brand Daler, Bill Kelleher. Man, it's a rough question because there's so many answers. I look forward to working with everyone that I'm going to work with, and I look forward to work with people that I want to work with.
Let's see, I would always love to work with Lucy Rose. She's a smaller known artist. She's Welsh, I believe. I met her once at a concert at hers. That was at the Troubadour or something like that. But I would always love to work with Lucy Rose. I would never mind working with Keenan Lonsdale, who, for anyone who knows, he was in Love, Simon, and he was also Kid Flash in The Flash. But he also makes music, so he's really cool.
I'm thinking that we would actually just meet people, meet new people, like if we're touring, and then, getting to know them and collaborating with them rather than, some artists that already exist, and to meet them. Like, I think just, meeting people and seeing, what they're about, that'll be interesting, I hope to work with, other smaller artists, with time, and just, I don't know, to see where the journey takes us, honestly.
family friends of mine and my brothers, and you know, just my whole family is friends with a band called Holy Wars. They're an indie band. They are pretty dark alternative, and it's just a husband and wife duo. They're awesome, sweetest people out there, and they just kill it. Kat, the singer, oh my gosh, she sings her heart out every time, and she's such a badass, and I love her to death. And you know, I've covered their songs, and I've dreamt of playing with them, even though they're not a huge band. They're just such great musicians and such great people to work with. Like, those are who you want to work with. Those are the type of people you want to work with. But you know, obviously, I want to play with as many people as possible. That's a musician's dream. So. Yeah, you can find us on Instagram, Parabolic_official.
Instagram is Parabolic Official with the underscore in between.
Parabolic_official on Instagram.
At Parabolic_official.
We have an EP coming out. It's called Apollyon.
We have an EP coming out in the coming weeks that we are in the middle of recording.
You can find us on
Spotify and iTunes, SoundCloud. We're gonna have stuff on Bandcamp, stuff on YouTube.
The live shows on YouTube, Parabolic Official on YouTube. All of our past performances are on there, and even some secret snippets of our practices and jam sessions that we have had in the past, as well as merch. We got some killer merch. We got sweatshirts, t-shirts, face masks for the time that we are in. But I really like to give a big thanks to my cousin Jeff, my uncle Dan, my father, and my best friend Jack, who really shaped my musical taste over these years and really helped me become a better drummer and a better musician and a better team player, better band member. So without them and without my bandmates, you know, I wouldn't be anything. You know, we wouldn't be here playing this music that we dreamed of playing. And yeah, we're just having the time of our life right now. It's living and savoring every moment.